Stella is told to stay in the car. However, her curiosity gets the better of her, and she sneaks into a fashion show being held at the manor, disguised. The event captivates Stella with its dresses and fashion, but her dog escapes her grip, and the guard dogs begin to chase her and her pet. She spots her mother speaking with Baroness, the owner of the manor, on the balcony overlooking the cliff. Stella runs towards her mother, but the dogs ignore her and pursue her mother. Tragically, her mother falls from the cliff, with Stella being indirectly responsible for her death. Stella overhears the Baroness accusing her mother of blackmail, claiming she demanded money in exchange for her silence, even though the dogs usually targeted someone else. Our film begins with Stella's birth moment, a baby with a distinctly different appearance due to her hair being split into two. People begin treating her as if she is different from them. As Stella grows up, she becomes tough in her demeanor, even with her mother. Therefore, her mother advises her that she possesses two personalities, Stella and Cruella. Stella is the gentle character, while Cruella is the tough one. Her mother tries to make her get along with her peers, but Stella always seems to attract trouble like a magnet. For every problem she causes at school, she receives a mark in her record. She meets her first and only friend, Anita, and adopts a small dog, naming him Buddy. Her troubles escalate because she doesn't tolerate being bullied. Eventually, the school principal decides to expel her, and Stella and her mother move to London. After Stella's supposed death, her dress was equipped with a simple parachute to prevent her demise. Cruella appears at the party after being rescued from the sea. A simple funeral is held for Stella, who was killed by the Baroness. Cruella attends the funeral, as the papers state, and inherits all of the Baroness's possessions because Stella had transferred everything to Cruella's name before her death. And so, Cruella achieves her revenge and seizes all the Baroness's assets. They distribute clothes to them and ask them to wear them at the party. When the Baroness's party time arrives, she prepares herself well and informs the guards that Cruella might appear at any moment. She takes the dog's whistle and keeps it with her. Guests start arriving, all dressed similarly to Cruella. All the guards are pulled away after receiving instructions from John to head to the library hall. Once inside, the door locks behind them, trapping them inside. The Baroness comes out to greet the guests and is surprised to find them all resembling Cruella. Quietly, Cruella sneaks up behind the Baroness and takes the dog whistle from her hand. She then goes to the bathroom and transforms from Cruella into Stella. She stands at the exact spot where her mother fell from, using the dog whistle to call the dogs to her. As they approach, she commands them to sit beside her, as she had lived with them for a long time in the warehouse. She tells the Baroness that she has come to oust her from the palace and claim it for herself. She reveals the key on the necklace, stating it opens a box containing her birth certificate, proving she knows everything. At the same time, the police, whom Cruella had informed before the party, arrive. John asks all the guests to join the Baroness in the garden to witness what unfolds. The Baroness approaches Stella, pretending to miss her, unaware that all her guests are watching. As expected, the Baroness pushes her daughter off the cliff, attempting to kill her. All the guests and police witness her crime, ensuring she goes to jail for her actions. Because Stella had fallen in front of the guests, she couldn't reappear. Before the party, Stella had legally transferred all her inheritance from her father, the Baron, to her friend Cruella, who now had official papers in her name. The next day, news of Cruella's death spreads in the newspapers. However, she wakes up to find herself in John's house, who rescued her from the fire. He tells her he found her necklace in the fire and gives it to her, revealing a small key inside. When she asks about the key, John shows her a box containing the birth certificate of the Baroness's daughter. Cruella is shocked to learn that the Baroness had a daughter, and John reveals that she is that very daughter. He narrates how the Baron was a kind man who had wished for a daughter, unlike the Baroness, who was narcissistic. When the Baroness learned she was pregnant, and after giving birth to her daughter while her husband was away, she ordered John and others to kill the baby. However, John couldn't bring himself to commit such an act. Stella's mother, who worked at the palace, found and raised her until her tragic fall from the cliff. Learning of her true identity and rightful inheritance to the Baron's wealth, Cruella decides to confront her mother. She insists she won't become like the Baroness and needs to save her friends from prison. News reaches the Baroness that after the fire at Cruella's warehouse, there was no trace of her. leading the Baroness to suspect she might still be alive. Jasper and Horace mourn their friend's supposed death until they hear a familiar car's sound. Cruella drives a garbage truck, sneaking them into the prison. Her dog searches for them, holding a tool to open the cell door. After breaking out, Cruella searches for her friends and finds them on the street, initially refusing to ride with her due to their annoyance. However, when she reveals the Baroness is her real mother, they go with her to John's house. Cruella explains everything, emphasizing the need for their help. Together, with John's assistance, they start executing their plan. News circulates that the Baroness's charitable party is approaching, and without Cruella's influence, not even the Baroness can fill her void. They aim to get the guest list for the Baroness's charity event. As soon as all the guests fled from the Baroness's company, they find a large party by Stella's fountain, organized by Cruella. All the models showcase Cruella's designs, with Cruella herself wearing an outfit made from the Baroness's kidnapped dog's skins. The police arrive to the party, and the Baroness realizes that one of the attendees, the same delivery guy who brought the larvae to her company, can lead her to their hideout. Cruella arrives and spots Jasper and Horace sitting together with the Baroness and her guards. The Baroness boasts to Cruella, stating that no one can defeat her, threatening to burn Cruella and her place down, blaming her assistants for her woes. The Baroness indeed sets fire to Cruella's location and leaves her tied to a chair until she faints from the smoke. From a distance, Cruella spots a shadowy figure inside a building. During the Grand Spring Collection presentation, with the Baroness hiding in the vault, she orders her assistant John that the moment Stella appears he should capture and confine her, suspecting Stella to be Cruella. However, Stella doesn't show up for the party. The vault guards try to open it, but fail. Malfunctions in the electrical circuit responsible for opening the vault door have disrupted it. They are ordered to force the door open, only to be surprised by insects swarming out, scattering towards the guests, causing them to flee the company. The bugs emerge from the dress Stella designed and embellished, with Stella having incorporated living insect decorations. The insects had been waiting for the vault door to open, ready to fly out after ruining the entire collection inside. They take them to their hideout, and Cruella arrives with a clothing store owner to help her with the plan. She begins to give orders to Jasper and Horace, treating them as her employees. She tells them that Cruella's persona has been dormant for a while, and it's time she takes charge, replacing the naive Stella. Cruella, in her Stella persona, arrives at the Baroness's work, where the Baroness is furious about someone leaking news. She demands new designs for the spring collection. Stella contemplates how she can take over her job, position, and trust and completely ruin her. Cruella starts to shadow the Baroness at every party she attends, covering for her. Her friend Anita is present at the party, documenting everything. Cruella continues her grand appearances, even overshadowing the Baroness to the point where she introduces herself atop the Baroness's car after locking her inside. Cruella becomes the talk of the press and magazines, stealing the spotlight from the Baroness with her unique outfits and eccentric entrances, like emerging from a garbage truck. Despite all the designs presented to the Baroness, she settles on the dress Stella designed. Horace delivers the unique embellishments for Stella's dress to the Baroness's company. The dress is designed in a way that astonishes anyone who sees it. As part of the plan, Jasper and Horace break into the design company, discovering that a gang had attempted a heist but failed to steal anything. All the dresses are then placed in a large vault, locking them inside. Rather than expelling Cruella, the Baroness asks her to sit and discuss why she attended her party. The Baroness keeps talking to distract her guests' attention. Jasper, in disguise, releases rats onto the food meant for the Baroness. The rats cause chaos, and as Horace tries to escape the guards, he falls from the second floor onto a cake at the party, breaking a container that releases gas into the room. Cruella manages to steal the Baroness's necklace, throwing it to her dog hiding under a table. However, the Baroness spots the necklace in the dog's mouth. leading to a chase by the dogs the Baroness had previously trained to attack Cruella's mother. In that moment, Cruella recalls her mother's death, realizing it wasn't her fault but the Baroness's. As they escape, Cruella's dog loses the necklace to another of the Baroness's dogs, who swallows it. They flee the mansion, and Cruella steals a car, determined to avenge her mother. The next day, Cruella sees her photo in the newspaper, with the journalist's name, Anita, her childhood friend, credited below. Cruella prepares herself, informs Jasper and Horace that they need to kidnap the three dogs because one of them swallowed the necklace. Once they retrieve the dogs, she will share her new plan to finally take down the Baroness. She then heads to Anita's workplace at the newspaper, revealing her intention to collaborate with her for her independence in fashion. Meanwhile, Jasper and Horace locate the salon where the Baroness keeps her dogs and enter with their dog to distract them. They lock the dogs inside a car and drive away, ensuring no one sees them. They devise a plan to steal the necklace from the Baroness during a party called the Black and White Ball at the Baroness's mansion. The first step is to understand all security measures, camera locations, and guard rotations during the Baroness's 9-minute sleep cycle. The second step involves disabling the security system and stealing the necklace from the safe. They need a distraction to steal the safe key from the guard, and the best distraction for the Baroness is to see someone dressed more elegantly than her. Stella will be that distraction. However, Jasper warns her that if she appears at the palace looking more beautiful than the Baroness, she will lose her dream job with the Baroness. After contemplating, Stella decides not to attend the party. Instead, Cruella will go in her place. Stella will continue working with the Baroness without revealing her secret, and they begin to implement their plan. Jasper enters the building's sewer system to sabotage it. Horace plans to enter the party disguised as a pest control worker. Cruella enters the party wearing a striking outfit. As soon as she throws a matchstick onto her dress, it disappears, revealing a dress considered the most beautiful in the entire party. A journalist from a newspaper captures photos of Cruella. When the Baroness sees someone dressed better than her at her party, she instructs the guards to throw Cruella out. Cruella successfully steals the Baroness's safe key, throws it to her accomplice waiting on the second floor, who then heads to the Baroness's safe. However, the necklace isn't inside. Horace is caught due to Jasper's failure to disable the cameras. She goes to the store and accepts her new job, which is a simple cleaning position. However, she tries to suggest her ideas to the manager, thinking he could benefit from her insights into clothing design. But he continues to dismiss her because she's just a cleaner. Due to her not following instructions properly, her manager punishes her by making her clean his entire office after official working hours. She remains alone at work after everyone leaves. She then sneaks into her manager's room, grabs some whiskey, and drinks as she roams around the workplace. Later, she goes to the main display and is displeased with how the dress is showcased. She decides to rearrange the display. Exhausted, she falls asleep. After 10 years, Stella grows up alongside Horace and Jasper, and they become the best gang that robs people, to the extent that they trained a dog to assist them in their thefts. Stella is responsible for creating disguise outfits they use to avoid detection. Despite their success in their operations, Stella always had bigger dreams she aspired to achieve in her life. Stella often sees advertisements for Baroness's fashion house and her special winter collection. On her birthday, Jasper gives her a gift, which turns out to be a job offer somehow at the Baroness's fashion store. She celebrates this gift next to the fountain, telling her mother that she has finally found an opportunity to achieve her dream. The dogs then turn their attention to Stella, but she manages to escape from the manor. Her mother's necklace falls off her during the escape. Stella eventually reaches London in the car she escaped in, and she sleeps beside a fountain, a place she had hoped to visit with her mother before becoming the cause of her demise. The next day, she encounters a group of young thieves named Horace and Jasper, along with their dog. Before she can familiarize herself with them, the The police start chasing them. She ends up joining them to avoid jail, finding refuge in their hideout. They manage to escape the police and get to know each other. Stella, once dreaming of becoming a fashion designer, becomes a mere thief in the gang. The first thing she does is dye her hair, completely hitting her Cruella persona. The next day, everyone on the street is amazed by the new display of the dress. Her manager is surprised and calls her into his office. While on her way there, the Baroness makes a sudden visit to the store. Seeing the new display, she immediately demands the entire mannequin to be set up just like that. The manager tells the Baroness that Stella is responsible for the change. However, he dismisses Stella from her job. The Baroness, on the other hand, asks her assistant to give Stella a card, telling her they're expecting her at 5 p.m. at the address on the card, confirming her employment. The Baroness instructs them to leave Stella. Stella then prepares herself and arrives at the designated time. She sees the Baroness reading an article about her latest fashion show, which was highly successful. The Baroness is hailed as a genius. She tells them to prepare for the upcoming show and asks Stella to design a new outfit quickly for her to see. Stella starts working diligently until the time comes for the Baroness to review all designers and their creations. The Baroness critiques many designs until she comes across Stella's, which captivates her. The Baroness makes some adjustments to it, leaving Stella elated that her design pleased the Baroness. As Stella continues to work on designs with the Baroness, she notices the necklace belonging to her mother worn by the Baroness. She inquires about its origin, and the Baroness claims it's hers. She then reveals that a maid stole it from her, but was foolish enough to return it. Unfortunately, she fell off a cliff and died. She had tried to blackmail the Baroness, but her demise settled the matter. Stella then goes to the fountain, where she usually sits. Her friends join her, knowing she often visits the fountain. She reveals to them that the Baroness was the one who spoke to her mother before her death, and she didn't know she was at the Baroness's party that same night. Moreover, the Baroness accused her mother of theft. Stella decides to retrieve her mother's necklace.